What up, YouTube Elleix? Come back at you with another custom StarCraft 2 cast. Today, we have a really interesting one. This is a Korean Grandmaster level matchup featuring the Azeroth-Koprulu Hyperwar mod. If you're not familiar with this mod, it puts together Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, and Brood War into one game. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's our red Night Elf player QuanTa going up against his opponent. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's our blue Brood War Zerg player Hummingbird. We do have an archer from QuanTa getting taken out, but will spot the macro hatchery as well as the natural base location for his opponent. This doesn't necessarily spell a 2-base all-in, but seeing this amount of zerglings on top of the macro hatchery would tell me that I'm probably going to be seeing some zerglings running to my home base relatively soon, and that is exactly what we're seeing. Zergling speed is just about finished, and now let's see what our red Night Elf player is up to. He does have a full wall with 2 archers, the Moonwell, as well as the Ancient of War. Once this Ancient of War stops building this archer, it will be able to defend as well. And here we go. Look at this. The Treant just destroying these Zerglings, and the Priestess of the Moon also now finished, which is a hero unit for the Warcraft 3 player. Now, if you are new to my channel, I do cast a lot of custom StarCraft 2 content, so if custom StarCraft 2 is something you're interested in watching more of, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And man, I was just thinking about it. This game, there is nothing vanilla about this. We may be in the StarCraft 2 engine, but we're witnessing Brood War versus Warcraft 3. I am loving it. Now, taking a look at the resources lost, that was quite a lot of Zerglings lost, but we did see an archer go down. So, resources lost relatively even, actually. 175 for the blue player to 150 for the red player. So, a slight deficit for blue, but really nothing too crazy. We also have the third base just now finished for our blue Brood War player and another macro hatchery as well. I'm really liking this. Great use of the Sentinel spotting. The Scouting Overlord will take this out. The rest of the Zerglings running back home, and oh no, I'm scared. I'm scared for this Overlord. QuanTa knows. I can see it. QuanTa is sniffing this thing out. He's like, there is something here, man. But actually running back home, keep in mind that Sentinel was from the Huntress. Now, this is a lot of Moonwells as well. 4 Moonwells. The Ancient of War is building also a glaive thrower. This is interesting. Now, the glaive throwers are not too slow, but I feel like the Zerglings, especially the Speedlings, will be able to get a good surround on the glaive throwers. That's just my vibe. I mean, what is meta, honestly, when it comes to Warcraft 3 versus Brood War? I really don't know. Is this wall open? And the wall is open. Hummingbird almost breaking through, but the unit control from QuanTa, the game sense is just on point. Forcing a retreat on these Zerglings. Man, if those Speedlings got into the main base for our red Night Elf player, that would have been disastrous. I mean, to be fair, the Tree of Life can absolutely one-shot Zerglings, so it's not the end of the world. It's basically like a built-in planetary fortress, but nonetheless, we would have seen an economical disaster, I think, if those Zerglings got into the base for the red Night Elf player. There's a bit of a skirmish in the middle of the map. Taking a look at the production tab as well, we have Lurker aspect on the way, as well as, what, 20 more Zerglings? This is a really heavy Zergling build from our blue Brood War Zerg player. Oh man, how many Zerglings do we have actually? 70? 70 Zerglings. That is absolutely insane. We're at 6.5 minutes into the game, and it's mono Zerglings. I love this so much. Now, like I said, I feel like the Night Elf unit composition, or just the units in general, are a little bit slow compared to the Speedlings. And look at this. I was just about to say, they will get the surround on the Night Elf units. Luckily, the Scroll of the Town Portal will save the majority of QuanTa's army. And here are the glaives as well. Oh, man. I don't know. Taking a look at the supply, let's actually take a look at the supply for both players. Relatively even. 109 supply for the Brood War player and 100 supply for the red Night Elf player. Base number 4 on the way. Actually, wait. Base number 4 already finished, and base number 5 on the way for the blue Brood War Zerg player Hummingbird. Base number 3 on the way for QuanTa as well. Taking a look at the worker supply, we have what are 70 drones to 49 wisps. So we have a bit of an economical lead for our blue Zerg player. Also, let's take a look at the units, man. Where are these lurkers? We have queens. Okay, I like that. So, queens mixed with speedlings. Lurker aspect is finished, but we don't have any lurkers. Oh man, the surround on this Night Elf army. But I like the spread. I really like the spread for QuanTa, moving some of his army forward and preventing a full surround from those zerglings and taking out actually quite a few zerglings. Leave a comment down below if you can read Korean. I am very curious. I'm very curious to see what these players are talking about. We have a bit of a push at base number 3. The Sunken Colony trying to do some damage will go down virtually instantaneously. And look at the DPS on the red Night Elf army. That's actually insane. This hatchery, this macro hatchery will be going down. We'll see if base number 3 goes down. It's already evacuated, so great control from our Brood War player. And oh no, Hummingbird realizing that his opponent is likely out of position and is going to go for the counterattack with the speedlings. These are a lot of glaives, but the zerglings are just so tiny. We'll be able to get the surround on so many of these units. And here we go. We have, I don't know, this isn't necessarily a base race, but base number 4 going down as well. A lot of workers getting killed by red. 17 workers getting killed by red. The zerglings are running back home to defend against this. Oh man. I think red's coming out ahead though, taking out how many workers? 18 workers versus 0 compared to the Zerg player. And as Zerg, you definitely want to be doing economical damage, especially if you're committing so hard into speedlings. Regardless though, a lot of the red units are going down as well. Taking a look at the resources lost tab, 8,100 resources lost to 5,500 resources lost. Slight deficit for our Brood War Zerg player. The Priestess of the Moon is at level 5. She will be running away with her life. These archers are staying back as sacrifices. They will go down. Let's take a look at the units killed. 20 workers killed by our red Warcraft 3 player. That is actually insane. Let's see if we have do we have any? Oh wait, okay, we have ultras on the way. I was gonna say, do we have any lurkers on the way? I would love to see some lurkers, but no, we have ultras instead. To be fair, the Brood War ultras are absolutely insane. Bit of a skirmish in the middle of the map as well. I mean, it's still mono zerglings, which I think is hilarious. Not necessarily mono zerglings. We actually have 4 ultras now on the map. Oh man, this is going to be really interesting. There's a run by of what? Huntresses in base. I don't know. This is technically base like maybe number 6, but so many workers going down actually. How many workers killed now? 27 workers killed by our red player. The ultras though make themselves known, absolutely massacring those huntresses. To be fair, I don't know how familiar QuanTa is with Warcraft 3 races. I mean, he's playing a great game. Both players are really doing a great job at spending all their money. Looks like there might be oh no, I was gonna say there might be a potential engagement in the middle of the map, but Hummingbird decides to run kind of staggered on the left-hand side away from the red Night Elf army, but the movement from QuanTa is just too good. Decides to engage this. Oh wow. Okay, forcing the retreat, though. That was so much DPS on the blue Zerg army. We do have Defilers, though, and we had the Dark Swarm on top of that. So the Dark Swarm will prevent projectile damage. Oh, man. I don't know. I really don't know whose game this is. I mean, taking a look at the resources lost, it's still at a deficit for the blue Zerg player, and he did lose 27 workers this game. Let's take a look, actually, at the worker supply, though. We still have 89 drones to 53 wisps, so despite losing almost 30 workers, blue is still very much in this game, and I really like this. Going for the ultras, there are no flying units. Oh, man, that ultra just flying into the sky. The second ultra flying into the sky. The glaives are just so strong, I feel like, with their DPS and their range as well. Look at the range on these glaives, man. That is so insane. I don't know I don't know what QuanTa and Hummingbird are talking about. I wonder if it's about the glaives, because the glaives look maybe a little bit overtuned. Let's actually see. They are at 3-3. What kind of damage do they do? 23 to 39 damage. That is really good, I feel like. We have the base now saturated. And what do we have here? We have Ultras running around in the in the base for the red player, along with some Zerglings. This Ultra will go down. These Zerglings trying to do some damage, but I really don't know if they did much damage. Still 0 workers killed this game, unfortunately for Hummingbird. And these glaives, man. These glaives, I feel like, are really keeping QuanTa in the game. They are just so good. I feel like if I were Hummingbird at this point, maybe I would be thinking about building something other than the Zerglings. I mean, the Zerglings are great, but clearly they're just getting melted to the DPS for the Night Elf player. So what I would do is maybe keep going for, like, Ultras. To be fair, the economy is has been damaged, I guess. I mean, the economy's great, but it's more like he doesn't have the money to build a bunch of Ultras. Oh, man. And these glaive throwers, dude. Just taking out, like, stray drones, man. That is rough. That is so rough. There is there is Dark Swarm on these Zerglings. I think they're just testing Dark Swarm with the glaives. I wonder if they're like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we shouldn't be able to do damage with glaives with the Dark Swarm, because Dark Swarm, if I'm not crazy, where is it? It's a cloud that prevents damage, all incoming range projectile damage for 20 seconds. So I wonder if the game's not reading the glaive thrower as projectile damage, because we just saw Zerglings going down. So that's exactly what I think they were talking about. Yep, they're testing out the glaives. So I know this game was played to do some, you know, play testing. This mod is in the alpha phase as far as I know, and look at this. So Dark Swarm, actually, that's a good catch by them, is doing damage to the Ultralisk as well as the Zergling. So I think what's happening is they have to recode how the damage is being read, because right now it's being read as likely non-projectile. I'm not sure if it's being read as melee, even though it says range, or maybe it's different from projectile damage. Although I would argue that glaives, I mean, these are projectiles for sure, definitely. So that's an interesting catch. Great work, QuanTa and Hummingbird, for catching that. Oh man, these Ultras though, absolutely eating up the Night Elf army. But a lot of Ultras going down regardless. Oh man, and now are we looking at a potential base race? I think we saw, what was that? Was that Searing Arrows? Or, no, that was Starfall that we saw on the Ultras from the Priestess of the Moon. Those were all the lights that were doing a tremendous amount of DPS to the Zerg player. And now I think we're entering a base race. There's no way. I think they're like, okay, we did our testing. Let's end this game. End this game like men. The Ultras are really scary, though. They are really scary, and this is actually a pretty dwindled army for the red player. I mean, look at this. We have the Priestess of the Moon, who has to be at level 10. Yeah, she's at level 10, but the surround on these speedlings, I was proven wrong, Hummingbird. You know better than I do, being a Korean Grandmaster player, that, you know, the Zerglings are the answer. Now, from what I was told a long time ago, Grandmaster Korean players play more on feel. Like, of course, they use build orders, but once you get into the late game, they're like, okay, yeah, this unit feels good against this composition, you know, where maybe European or American Grandmaster players might work with, you know, build orders even into the late game. I mean, they focus more on, like, composition versus feel. At least that's what I was told. Here we go, though. The Ultralisks coming into the red Night Elf base, and there's really not a lot that the Night Elf has. We have 90 supply for QuanTa. QuanTa throwing out a question mark. I'm not sure why. Oh, man. Times like this, I wish I could read Korean. but it looks like these Ultralisks have broken the wall, and now they are running around all over the red side of the map. They are doing so much damage. Oh no. I love seeing the Ultralisk bodies flying into the sky. That is hilarious, but this is looking really bad for QuanTa. QuanTa throwing out some tears, I think. Will undoubtedly throw out a GG at this point. I mean, the main base is totally invaded by the Zerg. These Ultras, man, the Brood War Ultras are just so insane. QuanTa throwing out what I think may be a GG, giving the victory to Hummingbird. What a sick Brood War vs Warcraft 3 matchup. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email and Discord in the description below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.